Hello there and welcome to the Impact Zone podcast, and we're back to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. And well, we're here to talk about what the fuck just happened at NXT Battleground, because I wasn't actually going to cover this at all. But well, they went and fucking did it. I didn't think that they were going to do this. And, you know, like, in the end of the day, if they do decide, or if they have decided, whatever, to prolong this sort of thing with Trek and with NXT and whatnot, you know, and they have a plan to bring the belt back and all of this stuff at a certain point, which I'm assuming is Slammiversary or whatever, maybe Bound for Glory, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that would be the plan going forward. Then, I don't know, I guess I'm fine with it. This isn't the first time that this has happened. We all remember when Kenny Omega won the belt. I don't know, it's tough to figure out because, like, it's in the middle where you could say it's not particularly bad and it's not particularly good, is it? It's just like, you know, you could obviously make good things out of it. You could obviously make bad things out of it. The one thing about, like, Kenny Omega's title changes that happened, you know, basically in TNA. This didn't happen in TNA, you know, like, I don't know, dude. I honestly kind of feel like, you know, this was in some ways a bad call. I don't know. It's always, like, tough to sort of say because it's like, well, yes, you can get the belt back or whatever else it is, but it's like, again, I don't mind them, like, working with WWE, and it's like, well, this is still working with them, and I don't know. But there is certainly a point of saying, again, you know, what was the point, like, type thing, you know, why was the point of, like, I guess the point was to showcase Trick and Joe on NXT, because NXT gets more views, I think, than what TNA does. But, you know, like, again, is this to try to bring more people from, you know, the main roster or from the NXT roster, sort of viewers, sort of over to TNA? How effective is that going to be? Like you've already had people, you know, coming over there and not really having a huge impact and whatnot. I think, you know, they've had a couple of people, but, you know, like, and, you know, history has been made in many ways, but again, it's like, well, you know, is that good or is that bad? It's like hard to put your finger on. And the thing is, it's like, well, everyone, you know, is coming to see Joe Hendry in TNA anyway, so it's like, well, and the thing is, it's like, yeah, the better part of, you know, a babyface run is the chase. We said this 1,000,001 times. So you're looking at saying, well, you know, is this good or bad? You know, it's probably good because, again, you've got a whole bunch of other people there for him to face. And it's like, well, you know, I don't know. It's really weird to sort of think about, because it's like, again, somebody that's not really part and parcel of the company being the face of the brand. So, I don't know. You know, it's tough to say, isn't it? But I don't know what to think really right now. I think I was, like, a bit mad to sort of start with this, like, and I don't know, to be mad or to not be mad, because it's like, I think the proof will be in the pudding type thing. But thus far, it's like, well, you know, how many times has Trick been in TNA, like, on TV or whatever? Like, a handful of times, like. And the thing is, it's like, you know, I understand if he's working and wrestling in another place and whatnot, I get that. But now you actually have to be, like, in TNA every week, you know, every taping. You've got to be there in some form or fashion, you know, and, yeah, you've got to carry that until, like, time to drop it. So, I don't know. I still have to think a bit about this. Because, man, I really don't know what to think. Like, I just don't agree with, like, the way this was done in some way, I guess. I don't know. because it did feel in many ways a lot like the other rivalries and stuff that's kind of come through, with NXT and a lot of the stuff, and it has been somewhat disruptive in some ways. But then again, it's like, well, yeah, but the thing is, it's like, well, who else is there kind of to sort of carry things and do things, and I don't know, there's not very many people. It's tough, to sort of, and if you say he's going to be a transitional champion, hey, I think a lot more people will be more accepting of that. I don't know how is he going to lose it in a singles? He's going to lose it in a tag, obviously not to tag, but is he going to lose it in a 4-way, 5-way, King of the Mountain, what's the specifics, I don't know whether that's all been worked out or figured out or whatever, I guess. So, but I'm sure that they have a plan. I'm sure that they have a plan and have there's very good reason to do it in some ways, and I've seen a few people saying, oh, they're probably going to do this or they're probably going to do that, which is mainly that they're going to probably put it on Santana. I think Santana's a good pick in some ways, certainly, but the problem there is in some ways as well, it's like, well, dude, what's the name, what are you going to do from there type thing, not just why you're doing that, because again, it's like, you can't just put the belt on somebody and say, oh, well, let's call it a day, and let's hope that they can carry the division. You've got to have a division for them to wrestle in, You've got to have rivalries and matches and feuds and things for them to go into. You've got to have all these other people, to kind of go up against. And that's kind of where, Joe is right now, or was in some ways. It was like, well, who is there else for him to beat type of thing, But yeah, guys, yeah, I don't know even really what else to say here too much, but yeah, we've got to live with some of these decisions sometimes, and they might not be the decisions that we think should be made sometimes, like saying, oh, let's put it on this guy, well, why do that? You could figure other things out, or I again do think that there is some efficacy in putting it on people like Kazarian or whatever else in some regard. I think the people who sort of say, oh, you have to always put it on a new guy is that's just doesn't work. That's not how things go, etc. You can't just always have, the belt on a new guy, because if you're only putting it on new guys, you're limiting yourself to saying, well, where's the stories that we can tell about, people versus people who have already kind of been to the top and been there and know the game and whatnot and that sort of thing. So when you take that away, you are taking away some amount of storytelling that can be there. And again, same thing, if you're saying, oh, well, we're not going to have them challenge against somebody that's, older or more experienced or whatever else it is, because then you're only saying, well, we're only going to have the 20-something, 30-something year olds or whatever in the upper card, and even then you start saying, oh, well, now we're only going to have the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, whatever, and then you're saying, oh, no, now we've got to try to find people that are just 18, or now we've actually got to try to find people that are 17 or 16 somehow, or whatever, or, you're never going to keep it as young or whatever, because at a certain point people do reach their peak and whatnot in the game. So it is well, they're still not, even though they're young, they haven't got enough experience to carry everything. So there's always another aspect of the game to be considering and whatnot. So yeah, but anyway, guys, hope you have enjoyed this one. And I hope that you guys will join me again in another one.